Hello, you guys. Awesome. Welcome to my very first private conversations with Cindy here on Substack. I am really excited that I was able to launch this platform for you because I really feel like this is such a great place to be able to come and have more I don't know what happened there. More intimate conversations, different than the full-blown podcasts, but also just not quite a blog. I love that we're kind of back in these sort of blogging days. And here's where I want to have conversations that we simply can't have in a 90-second Instagram reel. If you have this whole page, and the name of my podcast is called The Decision. And if you have found yourself asking yourself, should I stay or should I go in my relationship at any point of your life? Maybe you've been through divorce. Maybe you're thinking about divorce. Maybe you have never thought about divorce and you're in a happy marriage now. I don't know, but I want you to know something before we go any further, is that I don't think that's the actual first question that we need to answer. In fact, I think that's the last question, because we don't answer that should I stay or should I go unless we have absolute clarity, which comes in a lot of the work that we do prior to that. And myself, after working with hundreds of people over the years, I really noticed something, that the people who gain clarity aren't the ones who obsess over whether they should stay or leave. They're the ones who are willing to ask themselves harder questions first. So if you guys don't know me, I'm Cindy Stibbard. I'm an exclusive relationship advisor that really help people come to clarity about their relationship so that they can get to that answer, should I stay or should I go, clearly, with conviction, with confidence, and with a knowing. Because if we don't actually do the work to get to understand what's under the hood of that question, then we're making it potentially for the wrong reasons. Today, on the first episode of this podcast, I might ramble a bit, so please bear with me, but I'm going to share the 3 questions that I ask every single private advisory client before we ever talk about staying or leaving. And these questions won't make the decision for you, but they will help you stop asking the wrong question. Are you ready? Amazing. So as we go through this, I also want you to know that if at any point you feel like this is work that you need to really get into and do, this is what I do. I have built a program and a private advisory called the Decision Plan. This really helps, first of all, get to clarity about whether or not your relationship is salvageable, repairable. What could you do? What have you done? What haven't you done? And then we really determine the path that is right for you in your relationship, because everyone's path is different. And my job is not to push divorce or push you to stay. It's really to find that right path for you and that timeline and trajectory. And also, how do you roll this out? Because if you ended up discovering that you really do want to end your relationship, there has to be a right plan in place, a timeline for that, a runway. How are you going to lead your family through this through this redesign, and not just jump ship like a lot of people do when they really don't have a plan in place? Okay, back to the questions. So here are the 3 really powerful questions that I always ask people when they're considering leaving. And I want you guys to really sit with this, like really pretend that you are this person trying to make this decision. And a lot of you here very likely are. Question 1. I want you to think about if you were to strip away everything that you've built with your partner, the house, the history, the money, the kids, the routines, the family and friends, like really strip away all of those layers, like peeling back the onion until you get to the core. Would you still choose that person today? I really want you to take that in, sit with that, feel that. Because this question isn't asking whether you've built a beautiful life together. You very much have, most likely you have. It's asking whether you've built it with a person that you want to continue to build with. Those are completely different things. The person that you chose, that you built your life with, might not be the same person that you want to continue to enjoy the second chapter with. So talk about how many people answer based on, I can't leave because of the kids. I can't leave because of the finances. I can't leave because I don't want to split my assets. I can't leave because yada, 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 right? Instead of thinking deeper and saying, I genuinely want to stay because. So this is the sunk cost fallacy, right? We have invested all this time, all this history, identity, finances, time, and starting over seems so scary. Like, I can't get that time back. And it's true. We can't get that time back, but regardless of whether you stay or go, that time has been lived anyways. The whole point is, what do you want to do from here? The difference between loving someone and choosing someone is very different. And I often ask clients to imagine if they were to meet their spouse for the very first time right now, exactly as they are today, not who they were 20 years ago when you first met them, not who they could become, but the person sitting across from you right now. Would you still choose them? That's a hard question, right? And that hurts. If you were to actually look really deep at yourself, I think that question is going to be very revealing for you. Okay, number 2. This is a big one. Is this the marriage you'd hope for your children? Because this one matters. Children learn about our relationships through absorbing the energy, through watching us role model how to interact, how to love, how to be affectionate, how to solve problems, how to care for someone else. They don't learn through lectures. They don't learn through, do what I say, not what I do, right? They learn through observing us. How are we demonstrating a healthy, loving, compassionate relationship? And you might be demonstrating a friendship, a companionship, roommates, but are they seeing the level of love? Because this is what they're learning. They're learning how conflict looks, how affection looks, how loneliness looks, how respect looks, how affection looks. Oh, I said that. how repair looks, how even, emotional intimacy and safety looks. So, think about this. If your grown son came to you one day and said, Mom, Dad, this is how I'm feeling in my marriage. I really feel like I've come to an end. I don't know what to do. I think I want to leave. Would you breathe a sigh of relief, or would your heart break? Or if your daughter came to you and married someone who treated her exactly the same way as your spouse is treating you right now, would you quietly hope that she stayed because marriage is hard and you have vows and it's your duty and don't ruin the family? Or would you secretly wish that she would want more for herself? Because this is not about being perfect. There is no perfect relationship. In fact, I cannot stand that word, because every relationship has difficult seasons. And children really benefit from watching parents work through those seasons, but with love, accountability, and respect. They also internalize chronic disconnection. So even if there's not a ton of eruption happening in the relationship, if they're witnessing silence or walking on eggshells or avoiding the truth or resentment, emotional absence, no time spent together alone, respectful language, they don't become what we tell them. They become what we repeatedly show them. That's a hard one. That's what I had to continue to go back to in my situation where I was considering leaving my marriage. I had to always bring myself back to this. If this was my child, what would I tell them? And I had to heed that advice for myself. Okay, and then rolling into question 3. And I actually think this is where this becomes really special, because it seems like such a big, grand, general question, but it's actually really true, especially when you're at this point of life where you're looking at the future. I'm 50. A lot of you listening here are likely in this sort of middle age between 40, 45 to 60, 65, right? And life shifts at this point. So here's the question I want you to ask. Is this the person you believe you can continue building a really meaningful life with, exactly as they are today? So I'm not asking you, can they change? Can therapy fix this? Will retirement help? What if the kids leave? Will we be great grandparents? We just need to travel more. No. It asks, if nothing fundamentally changed, could you still do life with this person? Do you want to? Because there's a very big difference between potential versus reality. I believe that we can love someone's potential as long as they're doing the work to show us that they want to work towards something more and greater. That's the potential that I believe in versus the reality of they're not doing any of those things, even though we hope that they do. And a lot of people stay with someone in hopes that they're going to become a different version of themselves, in hopes that they're going to change, in hopes that one day you're going to magically wake up and everything's going to be fine. But that's just delusion. And that's not the good kind of delusion. We don't want an occasional glimpse of someone. We want their steadiness. We want consistently to experience who they actually are and the person that we want to be with. Because hope, as much as it is a beautiful thing, it's terrible for long-term relationships. It's not a good strategy when it's built on someone hoping that they'll become a different person. So here, those are the three questions, right? The three questions, let's roll them again. Question 1, if we stripped away everything that we've built together, the house, the history, the family, the kids, the money, all the things, would you still choose this person? Question 2, is this a marriage that you'd want your child to have one day? And question 3, is this a person that you believe you can continue building a beautiful, meaningful life with exactly as they are today? These are hard questions, right? They're tough. And here's what I want you to remember. And none of these questions are designed to push you toward divorce, right? None of them. They're also not designed to convince you to stay. They're designed to bring you back to yourself. They're designed to make you uncomfortable enough to think deeply about your situation and your relationship and get really honest with yourself. You only have to be honest with you right now. You don't need to be honest with me, with anybody else. No one has to know that you're thinking this except for you. Because when we're scared, we spend so much time looking outward for the answers. We study our partner, we analyze every conversation, we replay arguments, we ask our friends what they think, we search the internet, we ask our therapist, we listen to podcasts, read the books. We hope someone will finally tell us what to do about our own situation. But clarity is never out there. It's always inside you. It's inside the answers to the questions like these that you are very afraid to go deeply and honestly into yourself about. So this week, we're not rushing toward a decision. We're just spending some time with these three questions. Let them challenge you. Let them make you uncomfortable. Let them trigger emotions. Let them make you scared. But most importantly, let them tell you the truth. Thank you. Good to see you this week. I'll see you in our next private conversation.